we're going to develop a more detailed site plan. Simply create a project, either by address or APN. We're going to do an address here. Once the property is selected, you can name the property however you want to name it. Click on Create a Project and start creation of the project. The progress bar that you see is collection of information and recognition of objects on the ground. Once the project is created, simply open it. There is property information listed here. Click on the site editor. At this point, you have the ability to see what has been recognized on the ground and make adjustments as you wish. What you see here is the picture that is aerial photography, higher resolution, overlaid of satellite photography, which is around it. Now, this image, if you go to data, you notice that it was taken on February 3rd, 2026. All the topography is at 4 feet apart. You can change that. We have information of the solar, basically how the sun moves based on this property. We also have information of the windrows. Now, one thing that you should do all the time is to correct, if needed, what you see being recognized. For example, we notice that there is a fence line and the property line is not aligned with it. Simply click on property line and move it into location. Everything is connected together and to the scale. You notice that as I moved it into location based on overlay of the top, what I have now is every alignment is correct. I could have also clicked second time and move them point by point if I wish to do so. The roof line looks good. This other roof line, which is probably a storage from the neighbor, we don't need it. So we click on it once and we click on delete. So you have full editing capability on everything that we recognize. You notice that we recognize a couple of trees. We leave these, we can also take one of them off. Or this one is not recognized, it looks like a palm, but that's fine. We could tag it. But let's go and develop this a little bit further. What we are going to do is we're going to mark the swimming pool. There's a swimming pool here clearly. And perhaps we also mark the driveway, right? To do that, we're going to enable the layers. The layers that needs to be recognized, hardscape for the driveway. So we're going to recognize what's on the ground. Everything that's hardscape is going to be recognized. Yes, we can correct it and clear it, and we'll do that in a second. We're also going to enable the pool, and the pool is recognized as well. Now let's go through and make modifications that we need to. The AI layers that are here are to enable that layer and also recognize what's on the ground based on what we see based on the latest imagery. Now, clearly, in every project, you don't need all of this, so we just click, delete, and we could correct it just like you saw on the property line. But we are going to draw one now. We're going to draw one for this driveway, right? So under the layers, so if I go here, I have enabled the hardscape, and if I go to, let's take a look, and hardscape, we can do hardscape layers. So we are going to simply draw what we see on the ground, and everything is to this scale, right? And there is an overhang, we all know that. And we're just going to trace it as such, and done, right? So it says hardscape, and I'm going to mark this to be driveway, because that's what I want in my site plan. You notice this, and I can click on this and correct it a little bit if I wish to. All those things are available on those layers, pretty standard stuff. The next part is we want to go and also correct the pool. The pool is recognized as an object, but clearly is not a rectangular pool. So I'm going to, I can correct it with this, right? I can click on it and correct various elements, right? I can do that. That's the possibility. Or I can draw it. So I'm going to just delete that one. I'm going to go to the water feature. I'm going to select the pool and We'll simply draw it as a pool. And we call it a main pool. There's a bunch of other options like setbacks to it and so forth that you can develop. So now in this little more, I guess, added feature of SciPlan, not only we had the basic, but we marked the pool, we marked that. Let's also mark the grass in the front as well, right? So for that, we are going to go ahead and take a look at, I believe it's low vegetation. As you can see, all you need to do is trace based on a picture, and the picture is the latest picture. So now we have low vegetation, and this one we're going to call it grass, right? So basically now we have, and we can correct it. You know, I did it quickly, so I can correct it here and correct it there. Now I have all these, and you notice that it also recognizes other low vegetation areas as well. Now I can export this out. I can also go into the 3D model, and with the 3D model, depending on the package that you purchased, you see all the aspects of the project, and you see everything that you have marked. In the 3D model, you have the ability to also simulate sun and shade and all those things as well, right? So everything is basically available to you with the latest imagery. Now, simple as that, you went into, and let's take a look at the data layer. And this data layer, the latest picture was taken February 3rd, 2026. We have about 10 years of data on this property. Pretty good job, creating one. Now we're going to go to exporting it. So I'm going to export two different types. I'm going to export both the SciPlan and the screenshot. CAD files and other things are available depending on your plans. And you can select the formats and all that stuff, right? I'm going to select to generate export. By simply doing so, you have generated the most detailed SciPlan possible by simply tracing, recognizing, and making sure that everything is aligned. So if you look at the SciPlans themselves, now they're exported. So this one is the one that was basically a PDF, all the markings that we have pointed was what you see, what you get, to the scale and all that. The next one is the one that we basically overlaid the same SciPlan on top of the latest imagery. So everything is there. All the pictures, all the trees and all that stuff is there. So simple as that, you can develop a more sophisticated SciPlan, and there's a whole lot more to it. You can mark it as much as you want with a lot of different options that we have here. And you can basically keep going until your SciPlan is fully developed.